Flipping a house is an exciting project to take on. As a first-time property investor, the last thing you want is to be caught off guard when it comes to creating your vision. Keep watching for a guide on the main costs associated with flipping a house. Property purchase price. When we talk about property acquisition, this refers to how much it costs to buy a property. But often it's not just about the actual price of a home. It also includes the closing costs on your purchase. When purchasing a property to flip, you want to remember the 70% rule. Basically, it's wise to consider a property if you're paying 70% of the after repair value, minus all the repairs needed. In other words, you want to pay 70% of the value of a home after it's been repaired. Closing costs. You may not have to pay the full brunt of the closing costs, as they're typically divided between the buyer and seller, but you will be responsible for some. Transfer taxes, your share of property taxes, property insurance, title company fees, and title insurance. You'll also need to pay the costs associated with the type of financing you opt for. Your lender should provide you with a clear breakdown of these closing costs. If you're looking for an estimated amount on closing costs, you want to set aside about 5% of the property's overall purchase price for closing costs. Rehabilitation. This is where a decent chunk of change will go when you flip a house. But bear in mind that these costs vary depending on the extent of the renovations that the home needs. Variables that impact renovation costs include the extent of rehab, the size of the property, and labor costs associated with the local region. Property carrying costs. Let's talk about carrying costs. When you purchase a property, you own it and you're responsible for it, even if you're not living in it or renovating it. This means there are recurring costs you'll have to cover during the time you spend on flipping it. You'll have to pay these costs on a monthly basis, and they include property taxes, property insurance, and property utility bills. Financing costs. Property financing involves borrowing money from a lender, generally through a private money loan. Most home flippers might choose to front the costs of repairs and renovation with a credit card and pay it off over time. But there are great loan options out there that also include the cost of home rehab and sale costs. You just have to find the right home flipping lender. If you don't want to pay extra financing fees, you might want to avoid hard money lenders and home renovation loans. Most of the time, these loan types include fees at closing and high interest payments. Marketing costs. Once your home renovation is complete and you want to sell your property, you'll have to think about marketing it to a relevant audience. This also costs money, and you'll want to keep closing costs in mind. Yes, you'll have to pay a portion of these fees twice, first when you buy and then when you sell. You might also be responsible for outstanding property taxes, utilities, and transfer taxes. You want to budget 2 to 5% of the sale price of the house for closing costs. If you're in need of a fix and flip financing, Orchard Funding is your go-to. As a private lender, we offer perfectly tailored fix and flip loans that not only cover property acquisition, but renovation and sale costs too. Get in touch with our team to discuss your options. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.